All right, how's everyone doing? Um, Sorry if I stumbled, stop, or anything. I'm extremely nervous, but I'm really excited to share with you my project. For the first part of my hybrid, I did a critical analysis paper. The critical analysis, or, yeah, critical analysis are my favorite papers to write. I did one of Bell Hooks's Bone Black, and I call it Recoloring the Rainbow. Bell Hooks's resistance against the negative connotations of the color black. So, what is this paper about? Throughout this memoir, which is about Bell Hooks, a black feminist who grew up in the 50s, talking about how she faced the grand narratives of racism, sexism, and classism. And basically, I wanted to, because I did my first proposal on that stuff because I find that me and Bell Hooks share a lot of similarities. I wanted to focus on more of the color aspect of it. So I focus on how she uh, pairs things with the color black that usually don't go with it, and how she talks about the other colors as well. And I believe this is important because this is her way of showing society that blackness has more than one side. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not better, it's anything you want it to be. Um, and my thesis is whether it be the black in her wardrobe or the black on her skin, Hooks used Bone Black to talk back to society, combat the negative connotations associated with the color black, and to find ways to give the hue positive reinforcement. And one of the examples that I use is that blackness is not something that should be covered. So there's a scene in the story where she talks about giving her life to Christ as a young girl, and it made her feel uncomfortable, and this is what she said. They were to wear white, all white, gown, slip, panties, cap. She wanted God to see her as he had always seen her, naked, brown, her flesh moving in the dark like dusk, like the moment before the call to morning prayer. She was afraid that he would not know her in white. So this is a very powerful scene because she's resisting that whole whiteness equals purity kind of association. She's saying that the whiteness is drowning out who she is, and God made her a brown girl, so why cover it in white? She's saying that she's embracing her blackness, embracing her brownness too, and that God should accept her the way she is, and she shouldn't have to cover up in one color. And I actually found it interesting because this scene made me, because I'm Christian as well, it made me think back, like, why do we wear white? And I found a quote by feminist Judith Butler, and she said, the repudiation of bodies for their sex, sexuality, and or color is an expulsion, followed by repulsion that founds and consolidates culturally hegemonic identities along race, sex, race, sexuality, axes of differentiation. So in other words, she's basically saying that it's drowning out the individuality of each Christian there. That nobody should have to sacrifice who they are or how God made them to uh, promote this ideal Christian look. Another one is blackness is something that you have to earn. In the story, she's talking about her mother, and she says she never explains to them why she has married a man whose skin is the color of soot and all of wonderful things they love: shoe polish, coal, women in black slips. So to break off that sentence, I feel like that was important because soot, I felt like that symbolized something, and it's a black carbonaceous substance produced during an incomplete combustion. And if you read the story, this foreshadows it basically talks about a black man in the 50s where the pressure from external racism in society and just the pressure of being the breadwinner at home adds all this pressure that causes her father to later snap in the story and physically abuse his wife in front of the kids. Also, to compare shoe polish, coal, and woman in black slips to wonderful things shows that she's not ashamed of these black things, but they also make her think that blackness isn't something that's bad. It's something that comes in many different items. Also, to go on, she says she cannot wait to grow up and be a woman who can wear black slips, black dresses. Black is a woman's color. That's what her mama tells her. You have to earn the right to wear the color black. Which is kind of funny because I'm sure everyone in the room has a hint of black on tonight. However, I thought there was a motive behind the mother bringing that rule. I feel like bringing her up and saying that she has to earn her right to wear a color that's in everybody's clothing makes her grow up and realize how awesome blackness is and to really embrace it, especially because she is a black woman. So once she gets to that role of being a woman, once she finally feels like she's a woman, she will embrace that blackness. And just to get into deeper, shout out to Josh, my TA, for helping me out. He actually suggested looking up in art history what is black. And I found Jed Pearl, this guy right here. He's a art critic. And he was reading John Gage, another author. He was reading his book, Color and Meaning, and it said, in Color and Meaning, Gage has a fascinating chapter on Matisse's black light, in which he discusses how the 19th century black came to be regarded as a color, not simply as a darkener. Gage is interested in Matisse's possible acquaintance with the idea of Gustave Le Bon, better known as an author of a book on the behavior of crowds than the physicist, who took an interest in the light-giving power of radioactive particles. Gage sees Le Bon's belief that darkness added to darkness gives birth to light. So it's, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but irony of so much darkness that there's a light at the end of it, which kind of goes along with Bell Hook's theme of the book, because there's a recurring dream that there's this cave that she finds her light in, that she finds her muse in, and in the darkness she comes out not better but different. She embraces that blackness. And I looked up who Henry Matisse was, and he was a famous artist who actually embraced the color black. And he saw it not as a darkener but as a color, and he said, the Impressionists have banished black from their palette. I put it back, and prominently. And a painter as in love with color and light as Renoir had the honesty to confirm it. Black is not only a color but also a light. So I thought that was interesting that someone else resisted against the negative connotations with the color black. And just like how blackness is complex, the racism in today's society is so embedded that we don't know really where it comes from. And I was so inspired by Bell Hooks to talk about it. And I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. DeRosa and my whole class, because at home, racism isn't something that's really talked about. It's something that's really pushed under the rug and not acknowledged. So to get more in people's faces, to get on people's nerves, I decided to come out with a docu-film called Born Black and Female, inspired by Bell Hooks. The reason why I made this was to show humanity behind every black girl, to show people that they might have privileges and advantages above us, and to relate to every black girl out there. There's a documentary that I saw called Dark Girls that I found very moving, because being a light-skinned girl, I never realized that I even had privileges over women that were darker than me, that I would be deemed as more attractive or more educated or stuff like that. So instead of doing a memoir about me and my blackness, I decided to interview other women as well. Before I get into the people that were interviewed, I broke this up into two parts based on themes in the book. Starting off with resistance, not black women resisting against society, but how society resists against black women. So themes from the book, in sexism, so the early sexualization of black girls, a woman's place in the home, sexual orientation, all that stuff. For the racism, there's the external and the internal racism, biracialism, colorism. And for the lack of care, it's the negligence of black girls, underrepresentation, and the blatant disrespect and disregard of the black women and their problems. And the resilience is how black women have come back from that. And it's either a societal impact where they talk about black women that are well known, unheard of parts of history, or other stories and memoirs that they've gotten from other writers, or personal impact. So what they've learned about themselves and what they want every black girl watching them to understand. So the beginning process. To be honest, I started it off and said, who wants to help a sister out on her senior seminar? Like, I just reached out to every black woman that I knew. And I originally wanted 15, but I ended up getting 9, which I'm not complaining about. I got 9 devoted, well-spoken, intelligent women to come help me out with this. To come up with questions, I pulled them from the book, talking about the black girl image, hair and bodies, sexuality, all that kind of stuff. And I had them checked by a psychologist. And organizing thoughts, patience, and some more patience. It was really hard to come into contact with all the women at the same time because of work and because of school and all that other stuff, but we managed to pull through and interview 8 people. A 9th person sent their question in. And for the people that couldn't participate, like my niece and my sister, they helped me with like readings and reenactments and pictures and stuff. And here are some of the interviewees. First off is Grace Ellis. She's one of my students at a summer program that I work at called Writer's Block, and we actually talk about social issues, but we make a play out of it using using our students' talents. And Grace Ellis, she was interviewed, and she said, one of the powerful things she said was, I felt like my hair didn't belong to me. Moving on to Adela Shepard, my cousin, and actually the one who introduced me to Writer's Block. She loves being a black mom. She says being a black mom is just awesome. She had a great interview. Going on to Quinciana, she wasn't interviewed on the camera, but she did send her questions in, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was that she said, I wanted so bad to be light-skinned that I hated my mom at one point, and that's actually a very, very common in the black community. It's really disheartening. And the last one, a friend from Writer's Block, Eliza Brown, she said, because she's biracial, she said, I always felt like I wasn't black enough for black people or white enough for white people. And as conclusion, I present to you all, hold on, hopefully this works. It's not the whole movie, but it is the promo video of Born Black and Female. I hope you guys enjoy it. We worked really hard on it. We're almost done. It's almost there. So.
I just wish that someone would have told me, in society, as you grow up, you will find that people will treat you as if you are less than. I wish someone would have told me that these things will happen, but you have to rise above them.
People will try you and be prepared for it. Just expect the unexpected in all aspects.
I get up, I get dressed, and I go outside and I live my truth. Every day that I'm alive and I function in society and I deal with people, that's my resistance, because I like to change people's minds and thought process of what they assume.
If you don't have anybody to cheer you on, cheer yourself on. Do your research. Look into your history. Look into the history of black folks in this nation. Look into your history and you'll see yourself there.
Black girls here eat sleep for breakfast. Black girls here don't have time to rest. At the end of the day, black girls know we are blessed. But girl, aren't you tired? Always having to show your strength, you have to do 2 times as much to get half the way, but they wish they could be half as great. It's our magic that pulls us through. Our ethereal presence can stop a room, but damn, sis, I wish you knew. A black queen lives inside of you.
Thank you.